Carter, Reagan. He's seen disaster in Honduras, been on the scene in war-torn Beirut.
Things really haven't changed that much. Still only one way to grab a story. You gotta be there. It's as simple as that.
Ray Tannehill is a working newsman. At KDKA TV, we think there's a whole lot more to the news than just talking to you from behind a desk.
He's got a job with great prospects.
I got fired.
She's got her own career.
Hey, you kids, knock it off!
They're living the American dream, and it doesn't quite make it.
You think I could, like, start taking birth control pills?
But when Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice give it all up for the simple life, the laughs have just begun. Packing it in Friday.
This is CBS.
Hello, I'm Ray Tannehill.
And I'm Stacy Smith, sitting in for Patty Burns. The UN Security Council hears a tape of Soviet pilots in the downing of a passenger plane.
Are the Soviets capable of an apology, or have they closed the book on Flight 007? I'm Mary Robb Jackson. We'll sample some opinion.
I'm Ralph Iannotti, and coming up, a trip to Mexico tomorrow for a young Washington County girl and her mother for cancer treatment.
Any flashes from it, and did they correspond with the incoming at Charlie Company's position?
U.S. troops fired on again in Beirut. 2 more Americans are dead. Eyewitness News update is next.
Somewhere over at your Pennsylvania lottery retailer, you'll find Cash for Life, the new $1 instant game with the highest instant cash prizes ever. $1,000 a month for life, instantly. $250,000 guaranteed. Just find 3 lives. Free ticket winners get a chance to win $1,000 a week for life in the grand prize drawing. $1 million guaranteed. So play the game with lifetime prizes. Cash for Life. You've got to play to win, and that's life.
I bet you really miss Danny, huh, Mary Lou?
It's been almost a year. You said his ship's over in Italy someplace? In the Mediterranean, I think.
Well, I bet he won't be home till Christmas for sure.
Or even later.
Will you be glad to see him?
Hi, sure. Danny!
In my hometown, there's just nothing like a get-together at Pizza Hut.
You guys, why didn't somebody tell me?
At your hometown Pizza Hut.
Hi, I'm John Cigna. It's a brand new morning every morning at KDKA. And from 5:30 to 9:30, that's a new morning for me. But lucky, I don't have to do it alone. The K-team's there to back me up with the weather, the traffic reports, the newsmakers, the sports, everything you need to know. And I hope you'll back me too, because let's face it, weekday mornings, we need each other.
John Cigna and the K-team, mornings on KDKA Radio 1020.
Did I forget anything?
This is KDKA TV2, Pittsburgh.
We got it. We're bringing it home.
TV2's Eyewitness News Update with Ray Tannehill, Patty Burns, John Sanders, meteorologist Bob Kudzma, and the entire Eyewitness News team.
Good evening. It took a 14-minute tape recording to finally bring the Soviets to admit they did indeed shoot down that Korean jetliner. That from UN Ambassador Jean Kirkpatrick as she played a tape in the UN Security Council today. The ambassador says that tape forced the Soviets to respond. The Soviets claim their pilots didn't know the intruder was a civilian airplane, but they do admit they destroyed the jet, and Soviet reaction was strong.
It should be perfectly obvious to one and all that the representatives of the United States are not motivated by any feelings of humanitarianism or concern about the security of civil aviation, but primarily by their own anti-Soviet instincts and their desire to force up their psychological warfare against the Soviet Union.
And the Soviets say they would take the action again if a plane flies into Soviet airspace. The United States says the apology is too little, too late.
The fact is that violence and lies are regular instruments of Soviet policy. Soviet officials regularly behave as though truth were only a function of force and will, as if the truth were only what they said it is, as if violence were an instrument of first resort in foreign affairs.
The Reagan administration is still hoping the Soviets will cooperate in investigating the incident and provide restitution to the families.
However, observers of the Soviet Union say Mr. Reagan will have a long, long wait. Mary Robb Jackson looks at that. Mary Robb.
Stacy, the world has been waiting for 6 days for a full explanation from the Soviet Union, but those who comprehend the inner workings of Soviet affairs believe that with today's official statement, Moscow will close the books on the matter of Korean Flight 007.
The Soviets were clearly not making any apologies today for the death of Korean Flight 007. While Moscow admitted shooting down the commercial airliner, it stated flatly that it will take the same action in the future in similar circumstances. To those who understand the Soviet system well, that is no surprise. It is the military and not the civilian government that rules the roost in the USSR, and they say a paranoid military at that. Boris Pavlotsky lived most of his life in the Soviet Union.
It looks like paranoia. Look, I'm sorry to say, but maybe they was shocked because this number of flight 007, same what James Bond 007. Maybe it's paranoia, they afraid.
CMU professor Mike Salamone agrees that a less paranoid Soviet government might have handled the incident in a different way.
Had they been able to come to a consensus at the highest levels about what they had done and that in fact, that they goofed, they could have issued an immediate apology going with their story that they thought they were shooting down an American spy plane, offered to pay full reparations, laid themselves open to the world censure, and done a lot of mea culpas. But they, of course, did none of that and just painted themselves into an even larger corner than they needed to, regardless of how heinous the act was itself.
Professor Salamone believes that there is little that can be done in direct retaliation against the Soviets. He says any action might deflect attention away from the deed committed, a horrible crime against humanity that will exist on the books of history. Stacy?
Thank you, Mary Robb. It is still not known at this hour whether school will open as scheduled tomorrow in the East Allegheny School District. The negotiators for the teachers union and the district are still meeting, hoping to reach a last-minute settlement. If an agreement is not reached, the teachers will meet tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock to decide whether to report to work.
But, Stacy, there will be classes in the Pittsburgh School District tomorrow because the teachers union and the school board ratified a new 3-year agreement. It was reached early this morning and calls for a 7% pay raise in each year for teachers at the top end of the pay scale. In 3 years, top salary for a teacher with a master's would be about $35,500. In financially troubled North Strabane, Washington County, the Democratic Committee tonight picked a candidate to appear on the November election ballot for supervisor. The committee nominated Louis Molinaro, and a taxpayers group is very unhappy with that selection.
Still, this is an extension of the status quo that the people, the conscience of this community, are trying so hard to change. They voted 10-2 for Mr. Molinaro, who has never won an election in this township. In the last election, couldn't even win one precinct. But 10 of those 12 people voted to put that man in office.
That taxpayers group says the people of North Strabane want change in the way town government operates, but the Democratic Committee is ignoring that.
A soft-spoken 11-year-old Mount Oliver boy brought some of the Pittsburgh Steelers together tonight. A benefit for Sean Connolly was held tonight at the Hyatt House. Sean has leukemia, and money is being raised to pay for a life-saving bone marrow transplant. Area residents have been raising money for Sean in the last couple of months. And a Washington County girl and her mother leave for Mexico in a few hours in hopes of finding a miracle there. Ralph Iannotti is here with a story. Ralph?
Little Melissa Keller has cancer, Stacy, but it's not the controversial Laetrile that she'll be receiving in Mexico. Rather, it's a special diet, including a combination of vitamins and minerals.
To those who know her, Melissa Keller was and is special. Her mother admits that Melissa and younger brother John occasionally fight, but probably no more or no less than other brothers and sisters. Melissa's condition was diagnosed in June here at Children's Hospital. A brainstem tumor. The prognosis was not good. And for 3 months now, for Melissa, it's been one treatment after another.
Well, as far as anything that they have to offer me up here right now, there's not much else that they can offer me. She's had all the radiation and chemotherapy that she can have. So even if it's just, you know, very little success, I'm willing to, you know, take that shot with my child. Maybe she'll be one of the lucky ones that it does help.
Mary Keller says the cancer has changed her daughter's life immeasurably. Besides the obvious physical transformation, including gaining 20 pounds in the past 2 months because of steroids, there are the not-so-obvious character changes.
She used to be real outgoing. She doesn't hardly talk at all now, and doesn't want to play, doesn't want to do anything. Nothing seems to interest her. People come to the house and bring her toys and stuff like that. She has no interest in that sort of stuff anymore, and she's just a lot different.
As for Melissa's feelings about going to Mexico,
I'm looking forward to it.
and the favorite part of her summer hospital stays in Pittsburgh.
Getting the candy and radiation.
You mean after your treatment?
Yeah.
Keller, a registered nurse, calls it a 1 in a million shot. She honestly believes it's a chance she has to take. The nutritional therapy will not conflict, she believes, with the continuing treatment at Children's Hospital.
Now, United Airlines is flying Melissa and her mother to Mexico at no cost, and friends and neighbors have established a special fund to help pay for some of the girls' treatment. Donations can be sent to the Melissa Keller Fund, care of the First National Bank and Trust Company, Washington, Pennsylvania, zip 15301. Stacy?
Ralph, any idea how long she'll have to stay in Mexico?
Her mother tells me when they go tomorrow, they'll be there for 5 days. They'll return home, have the young girl on a special diet, and then return to Mexico for further treatment and evaluation in about 6 months.
Our fingers crossed it works.
A lot of prayers go with her, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Thank you, Ralph.
And two 14-year-old McMurray boys are in critical condition in the burn unit of West Penn Hospital following an accident with gunpowder. Details of the accident not known, but doctors say Christopher Nassar was burned over 29% of his body, while Jeffrey Hester suffered burns to 19% of his body. Both boys were taken by Life Flight helicopter from Canonsburg Hospital to West Penn. Still to come, an Eyewitness News update. The Defense Secretary says the Marines will remain in Beirut until the job is done.
And a slain Marine from Pennsylvania is given a hero's burial. But first, the biggest haul of Butler County.
This is the place for the real taste of beer. Pabst is the place, there's just no doubt about it.
It's right here in this bottle. You can't find better than Pabst.
Pabst is the place, good friends all around you for the real taste of beer. And all the good times you have here.
The thing is, Pabst doesn't change. It's always good.
For the real taste of beer, Pabst is the place.
Once the name Eastern meant service only in the East. Not anymore. Today we spread our wings north to Canada, across to the West Coast, to Mexico and the Caribbean, down to South America, serving over 120 cities in 22 countries, flying more passengers than any other airline in the free world. Today, only our name is Eastern.
Uh-oh. I could have saved. He thought he got a great buy in a discount store until he saw the David Weiss price. She loves the famous name outfit she got in a department store. Pity she didn't get it at David Weiss for 35% less. Sooner or later, they learn to shop David Weiss first, where the names are famous and the price is Weiss. Guaranteed lowest. You're too smart not to shop at David Weiss.
Shine on, Rusty Jones.
Hi, I'm Rusty Jones, the one new car option that appreciates in value. With my gloss treatment, your car will shine on and on. I'll stay with you summer and winter, day and night, not even a coffee break, keeping your car shining on for as long as you own it. So it'll be worth more at trade-in time. Ask for me, Rusty Jones Car Saver System.
Shine on, Rusty Jones, shine on.
It is believed to be the largest crop of marijuana ever confiscated in Butler County. That is according to state police, who spent the holiday harvesting a van load of illegal grass from a remote farm in Fairview Township. And though no arrests have been made, Rahima Ellis reports police are confident they can prove the grass, well, it just didn't grow there by accident.
It may not look like very much here, but authorities say this van load of marijuana is very valuable. Police say there are more than 400 plants here, and on the street, it'd be worth at least $80,000. No arrests have been made, police saying they have to establish if the crop was deliberately planted and by whom. According to police, the landowner, whom they refuse to identify, says he knew nothing about it.
He has been interviewed and denied any knowledge of the crop being there, being that it's in a farm area we have to be able to establish that he or someone under his license did plant the crop.
Police say they got a tip that the marijuana was being grown on this remote farm in Fairview Township. According to police, the marijuana was planted in between the corn rows, and the only way they could see it was from a helicopter. Authorities say they believe the plants had been deliberately placed because the 30 rows of marijuana had been cultivated and there was an electric fence surrounding them.
They were in rows. Some of the plants contained their potting pods, which would have been established in a seed bed till the crop matured or the plant matured to the place where it could be put in the ground.
Police say their investigation of the matter will continue. The marijuana will be photographed for evidence and then destroyed by fire. Rahima Ellis, Eyewitness News Update.
A man whose garage door has become something of a religious shrine says he will install floodlights to keep the sightseers away. The owner of the property in San Antonio, Texas, said the door was visited by hundreds who claim they can see the image of the Virgin Mary on the door. Throughout the Labor Day weekend, people gathered, some smoking marijuana and drinking on the property. The owner of the property says the image may have just been the reflection from the bumper of a car parked nearby. The community of Hometown, Pennsylvania, laid to rest one of its favorite sons today. Staff Sergeant Alexander Ortega, killed in an attack in Beirut last week, was buried with full military honors. Marine Lieutenant Donald Losey of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, also killed in the attack last week.
And more fighting between U.S. Marines and Muslim rebels continues tonight. The fighting has also claimed the lives of 2 more Americans. U.S. Marines Corporal Pedro Valle from Puerto Rico and Lance Corporal Randy Clark of Wisconsin were killed in a rocket attack near Beirut. And despite the deaths of 4 Marines in Lebanon, Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger tonight said the United States troops will remain until the job is done.
The mission that we went there to do is not yet been completed, and that as far as I know, it would be necessary for us to continue to do what we're trying to do, which is to get a sovereign, free, independent, unoccupied Lebanon, and that is very difficult and costly business.
Weinberger made the statement today as he was leaving for Central America to review U.S. troops stationed there.
Tell me the Bucks broke out of that losing streak, Steve.
I will tell you that. In fact, Lee Tunnell saw the light at the end of the ball game tonight. We'll have that story when we come back.
Now, there's a new Lipton iced tea I can take anywhere. New, ready-to-drink Lipton iced tea. Mmm, terrific.
Today, you need an oil this good. You need Quaker State.
I want all the performance this engine can deliver. I need an oil this good.
Today's 4-cylinder engines work so hard, they demand an oil this good.
These motor oils are refined exclusively from Pennsylvania-grade crude. Quaker State is so good, it's America's best-selling motor oil.
That engine's my bread and butter. I need an oil this good.
Old cars, new cars. Big cars, small cars. Today, you need Quaker State. You need an oil this good.
What do deli experts say about new Vlasic refrigerated deli dills?
It tastes just like the extra crunchy pickles my father used to make. They taste like they just came out of the barrel. Extra crunchy.
New Vlasic refrigerated deli dills. The cold makes them extra crunchy. Vlasic makes them taste great in the refrigerated section.
This pickle's extra crunchy. It must be one of ours. Bert. Like I said, it's one of theirs.
New Vlasic refrigerated deli dills.
It's a hidden treasure in the mountains of Mexico.
But they all think it's beautiful.
Wednesday on Evening Magazine, take a breathtaking railroad ride up the slopes of Mexico's spectacular Copper Canyon.
It's an amazing country.
Then Pittsburghers experience the pluses and the pitfalls of acne's new enemy, Accutane.
I think we can consider it something really great.
Join us for Evening Magazine Wednesday at 7:30 on TV2.
Steve mentioned the Bucks did break out of that losing streak, and I understand Lee Tunnell pitched a whale of a game.
Oh, he was fantastic tonight. You know, before tonight, it had been 19 innings since anybody had scored on Lee Tunnell. Why, the Pirates, after last night, could use some tight pitching. And in fact, he gave it to them, a 5-0 shutout of the Cards, Tunnell going all the way to run his scoreless string to 28. Jimmy Morrison had a home run for the Bucks. It was quite a night for everybody. Now let's move on to New York. Ron Darling pitching his first game for the Mets, boxed twice in the fourth. Second time, Joe Morgan scores. The Phils blank the Mets 2-0. In Baltimore, Eddie Murray goes opposite field shopping, a 2-run shot to left. The Orioles continue to fly high in the East. And in Chicago, super rookie Ron Kittle hits one over the roof in Comiskey Park. His 32nd home run of the year. Is he going to be Rookie of the Year? I think so. Let's check all the scores now if we can. The Pirates blank St. Louis. Philadelphia blanks the Mets. Montreal over Chicago. The only team in the East that loses ground, the Cardinals. They fall a game and a half back. Houston and Atlanta postponed because of rain. San Francisco and Cincinnati, no score in the second inning. Also no score San Diego and Los Angeles. They're just in the first. Over in the American League, Baltimore boy, am I having trouble with that. Anyway, they beat Boston. Milwaukee over New York. Toronto beat California. Detroit and Cleveland rained out. Seventh inning, Chicago's leading Oakland. Also in the seventh, Seattle's got one more than Kansas City. And in the 10th, Minnesota and Texas are tied up 3-3. Now, at the U.S. Open this afternoon, it wasn't a big surprise that Yannick Noah won. It's how he won. That's kind of surprising. Now, that's the fourth-seeded Noah in the far court against the 16-year-old amateur phenom, Aaron Krickstein. Now, looks like Krickstein's hit a winner. Watch. Oh! No, I guess it would be fair to say surprises Krickstein 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. Checking the scores at the U.S. Open today, second-seeded Yvonne Lendl, no trouble in beating Johan Kriek. Fourth-seeded Yannick Noah pulling all the rabbits out of the hat to beat Aaron Krickstein. Ninth-seeded Jimmy Arias taken 5 sets by Joachim Nystrom, but he wins. Over in the women's quarterfinals action, number 1-seeded Martina Navratilova only loses 3 sets in beating, or 3 games that is, in beating Sylvia Hanicka. And 5th-seeded Pam Shriver comes up with the upset of the day. She stops Andrea Jaeger, the 3rd seed, in straight sets. Now, if you were to try and describe how the day went for the Pittsburgh Maulers, you'd have to say they blitzed the first day of the expansion draft. The very first guy they picked was Chicago Blitz defensive tackle Mark Boobin. Then an interesting move. They traded their second pick away to Philly for the rights to try and sign a bust in the NFL, famous Amos Lawrence. The third pick stars offensive guard Scott Burris. Generals linebacker Mike McKibben was picked 4th, and Jim Lohman, a blitz tackle, was picked 5th. Then another pick from the blitz, defensive tackle Troy Thomas, followed by blitz fullback Walt Easley. Gold wide receiver Lloyd Jones, Bandits guard Bobby Hopkins, defensive tackle Moochie Allen of the Stallions picked 10th, and Panthers defensive tackle Ira Albright 11th. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll notice 4 of the Maulers' first 11 picks came from the blitz. That was no coincidence.
Well, they were the #1 defensive team in the league, and we had started with fulfilling our commitment of building a good defense. We signed Jerry Holmes this past week, and we're working on a couple other corners, and we needed a pass rusher and a defensive lineman. Who Mark Boobin was the first guy we picked, and then we looked at some of their other defensive people who we thought could play in our league, at least have a chance of playing in our league, and they have made a contribution to Chicago.
I'll tell you what, if Pitt could have drafted a quarterback, you can bet they'd be doing it. Only 4 days away from Temple, and this is the sad side at Pitt practices these days. John Cummings wearing the uniform of a man with a broken collarbone. Number 16 is one of those who might take his place, the sophomore from Mount Lebanon, Chris Jelic, whose first start ever might come before the home folks this Saturday.
Well, you know, there's a little bit of a difference. I'm sure, especially since it was the first game down there, a lot of people had to be a little nervous. You know, it's always better to play in front of a home crowd.
Of course, John Conjemi might have something to say whether Jelic starts or not.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Beat 'em Bucks.
Yep.
After 2 years of detours, bumps, and patience, motorists will soon be able to travel through downtown Pittsburgh without dodging subway construction. The ripping up of many downtown streets began soon after the groundbreaking ceremony for the subway back on October the 19th, 1981. But the subway construction has also been very costly to area businesses.
Loss of business, people can't get to me with supplies or cleaning carpets or anything like that.
What could you estimate your losses to have been?
About $4,000 a month.
But business should be back to normal by November the 14th when the streets are scheduled to be reopened. Well, that's the forecast for November. How about the forecast for tomorrow?
How about some boomers overnight? Some pretty hefty boomers, too. Tell you about that. And some good weather coming up in a moment.
For Sheriff Duval, whose car lacked the pickup to make the pickup, there's Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. For absent-minded Professor Doyle, who never remembered to check her oil, Gulf's full-service dealers check it for her. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf Self-Service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
Listen up. I'll meet you in Philly.
Philly?
That's right, kid. You heard me. Philly.
Philly?
Everybody goes to Rax for the new Philly sandwich.
2 Phillies?
Juicy roast beef, Swiss cheese, sautéed mushrooms, peppers, and onions. New and only at Rax. When you think Philly, head for Rax.
Charlie, I'd rather Rax, wouldn't you?
Genesee kept the beer taste in their light beer. There's no doubt about it. It's the best beer taste in any light beer I've ever tasted. I still don't believe this is light beer.
Next, a guy is innocently giving out handbills.
When I was just attacked, I never saw him, and all I remember... You didn't see the dog? I never saw the dog.
He wasn't hurt, but both his neck chains had disappeared.
And that young boy came out. I asked him if he could pull back his dog so I could look for my chains. And I told him that the dog had just attacked me, and I wanted my chains.
It's the case of the canine chain snatcher, next on The People's Court.
Wednesday at 5 on TV2.
Bob Kudzma is here with the weather, and you say we're going to get some rain tonight, huh?
Yeah, more than likely. Most of us will get some rain. I can't promise it for everyone, but it looks like between the hours of around 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have some pretty heavy booms in here, and they may wake you up. At 8 o'clock in the morning, overcast skies, could still be a little drizzle, a few sprinkles in the area, and the temperature rather dreary, 64 degrees. Oh, scorcher today. Oh, well into the 80s, just missed 90 degrees, 73 right now. High temperature this afternoon, 89 degrees. That's 11 degrees above normal. 70 degrees. That was our low earlier this morning. Be cool from that early tomorrow morning. Pollution index right now, it's moderate. Most of them are running around 50 or so. That's not bad. The pressure continues to fall. The humidity is high. Winds are light and variable northeast at 4 miles an hour. Well, there are some stronger gusts just north of Pittsburgh at the present time. But look at ColorSat, too. Very heavy cloud cover now in a western New York state, along and ahead of the cold front back in through Ohio, down in through Missouri. Take a closer look into our area, and there you have it. Those are the thunderstorms in through western New York, Ohio, and down and through parts of Indiana, rolling off to the southeast. This is the way radar looked during the evening hours. Very heavy thunderstorms rumbled rapidly southeastward into western sections of Pennsylvania, then fizzled. But look up around Lake Erie, northern parts of Ohio. Some very heavy thunderstorms will redevelop once again. They'll be moving off to the southeast rather rapidly. Right now, we have some rather heavy thunderstorms in southern Butler County and northern parts of Allegheny County. They're all moving off to the southeast at some 40 miles an hour. Very heavy thunderstorms also up around Erie to Cleveland. They're moving off to the southeast very rapidly, so it looks like these thunderstorms will move through here, and then another batch of thunderstorms between the hours of 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. The reason for this activity, leading edge of much cooler, drier air now moving into northwest parts of Ohio, moving off to the southeast, set off thunderstorms overnight. Should be along the east coast. Looks like a rainy day along the east coast. Cool things off. There are a lot of record highs up and down the east coast today. The high will settle in, give us a beautiful afternoon tomorrow, and cool weather in here tomorrow night. Most temperatures way down in the 50s by Thursday morning. Highs today, record highs up and down the East Coast. Readings were in the 90s. Boston 94, New York 94, Philadelphia 95 degrees, Atlantic City 98 degrees, Baltimore 99 degrees. 70s will drop into southwestern Pennsylvania, right around 80 and through northern parts of West Virginia. Only in the 60s tomorrow afternoon up there in the northern Great Lakes area. Look at the temperatures right now along the East Coast. Still holding in the 80s. It's 69 cool degrees in Chicago, 52 in Bismarck. Cooler air is on the way. Where they've had rain, temperatures are running in the 60s, mostly in the 70s elsewhere, most temperatures in the mid-60s overnight. So let's check my forecast as prepared in the KDKA Weather Center. Showers and thunderstorms rumbling through here now and redevelop and move through here again between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Rather warm, muggy night, most temperatures in the 60s by daybreak. Tomorrow, murky morning, could be a few sprinkles, some drizzle, then partly sunny during the afternoon hours. Low humidity, only around 76 degrees, and by late afternoon it should be absolutely beautiful. On Thursday, mostly sunny, pleasant, low 50s in the morning, mid-70s in the afternoon hours. The weekend, it's going to be a warm one, well into the 80s. You go into the Pitt game, I think it'll be sunny, around 88 degrees in the afternoon, a scorcher.
It'll be hot for those players down on the field.
Oh, hot? What about people sitting in there in the sun, too? Sorry for us.
Well, yeah, but not as much as the players down there.
Gotta drink all that water.
That's true. Thank you, Bob.
The last word tonight about some Southern-style double pleasure, the 49th Annual Twins Convention being held in Charleston, South Carolina, where twins of all sizes, shapes, and ages have gathered. They come in all sizes, shapes, and ages. Well, I booted that one. All looking for a chance to have twice as much fun. That is it for this edition of Eyewitness News Update.
Our next news tomorrow at 6:55 in the morning. Now stay tuned for the U.S. Open tennis highlights, followed by the CBS movie The Child Stealer.
For all of us, good night.